Welcome to Kolorflow Conversations, where we flow freely, speak boldly, and connect colorfully. I am Tikisha, and this is
Tikisha.
And we twins today. No, I'm joking.
That is funny.
We never, I say this all the time, we never plan, and people have mentioned to me like how we dress on here. I'm like, we never plan our outfits, and this was not planned. But I was
No,
yeah,
it was not
yeah,
at all.
girl. It's just alignment. Get alignment with y'all friends.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to our girl chat.
Welcome to our girl chat. So, what you want to chat about? How you doing?
I'm hanging in here. This is gonna be some for real girl chat right now. So the dudes that's listening, come back in like 5 minutes. Because I want to put out there how I discovered like premenstrual.
Yeah.
And if women deal with PMS, because I don't think I've ever had PMS until I became really deep into my word and spirituality. And I realized that the week before my cycle comes, my struggles to keep going are really intense. And I feel like I'm under attack. And it makes me kind of wonder what the connection is, because in my mind, I feel like there is one, because I started keeping track of when I was going into the sunken place, like, and especially when I felt like there was no triggers, because a lot of times, life,
nothing
and
has
then
really
that would
changed,
be like, okay, but nothing has really changed. If anything, I have some things that's going on that you know about, but I still have some rays of sunshine in the midst of that. So nothing to put me all the way deep down in that sunken place where I feel like yesterday I was falling into. And then I was just like, wait a minute, let me check the calendar and check the dates, because this time next week, I'm going to be in a turn 49. I should be moving into a happier state with the things that I have coming up.
Yeah.
But instead, everything I'm dreading and I'm miserable. So when I looked at that, I was just like, okay, that's what it is. And I noticed that it's been a pattern. But when I was like younger, or really not, living in my spirituality, where it was such a big part of my life.
You never dealt with PMS.
I never dealt with PMS. It was just like my cycle came and moved on. I remember younger having really bad cramps and being in a lot of pain. But after I had my son, I did not have that.
Didn't deal with that, yeah.
I didn't have a heavy flow, and I don't now, but the leading up to it is literally painful. It's almost like the devil is sitting there like, hey girl. And I don't know. And then as soon as it comes, it's literally like a switch where I'm just like, oh, my cycle's here.
And you better.
And I'm better.
That I don't think that a lot of growing up, you hear people say, oh, I got PMS. I think a lot of folks think it's been used as an excuse to have bad behavior or something like that. But it really does. And I do believe that it is spiritual, because I think about the woman with the issue of blood in the Bible and how she just had to touch him to get better. And we as women deal with a lot when it comes to our bodies, no matter what.
Let me say this sidebar. When I was with my sister yesterday, she was talking about that, the hem of the garment. And
she said that yesterday?
Yes. And I was just like, can we find a Jesus right now? Because I need to touch. Like, what do we do in modern day times? Because I need to be like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I was going through, I don't even remember how many years ago it was. And like we said, this our girl talk, we let y'all in, where I was dealing with like bleeding just heavily. And it got to the point where I was almost like sickly with it, because it created anemia. And, found out I had fibroids, like one the size of a football.
It was huge.
It was very huge. Did you see the picture?
Yeah, girl.
I couldn't remember if you saw the picture or not. I never looked at the picture, but I knew it was passed around. All my family wanted to see it. So it was huge. And I don't understand why it happened. people you talk about, we as Black women, we get that because of the way we eat, whatever. I don't know. I just know it was a major issue to the point where I was laying in the bed shaking from being cold.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I was shaking. And I know that the doctor, this is when I went into surgery, speaking of spiritual.
Really?
And the doctor name and my aunt said, the angel Raphael covers you. It's going to help heal your body. And the doctor was like, what did you say? And he said, what name did you say? And he moved his coat back and his name was Raphael, which has started my journey of learning about the Archangel Raphael. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that was exactly when it happened. And those are the type of things that make me remember when I think back in past things that happened, like, like I've been covered for a long time, and that was a major health issue that I had. And since then, I haven't had any issues. But I know that when you say that, it makes sense because I can remember, being in a bad mood, being just like, oh my God, and then it takes so much from us.
Yes.
To be on a menstrual cycle.
Yes.
It takes a lot to be somewhere and you got, oh my God, I hope it ain't coming through my clothes. And, I got to go here and change. You got to carry stuff in your purse. You hope nothing fall out your purse.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so natural, but we are conditioned for whatever reason, almost like embarrassed about it.
Yeah. Why is that?
I don't know. I remember in school, a friend of mine had started her cycle and didn't know. And like you said, her pants was messed up. And I remember giving her my sweater to tie around her waist and like the other kids teasing her.
Wow.
And it's just like this, sadly, but it's a natural. But I remember one of the last concerts I went with my mom, sitting there and thinking that I had started my cycle. And I was so like nervous over it. Like to get up and to move, like I couldn't even enjoy myself. And this when I went to see Mary and them my girls.
And it's not like the whole world don't know women have
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not like the whole world don't know. We all deal with it. It's funny. In my family, people start to get headaches first before it comes. So I wonder, like, why does it have to be associated with pain? Why does it have to be associated with your mood changing? Why does it have to be associated with that? My daughter, I'm sorry to tell her business, but she gets really bad headaches like right before. Like I just gotta lay down. And because I try to, get to know my kids in ways that I wasn't gotten to know, I understand and I don't bother her. I don't be like, well, you better clean that room before you lay down. No, because, she probably going into a different type of sucking place. So yeah, it's.
I remember though, my mom, we never really had conversations about it to understand, what was going on, like with my body and just mentally. And maybe she didn't know because here I am dealing with it for forever.
Yeah.
And I really don't know. Yeah. I'm just now seeing at this point what's going on. But one thing I can say is that when I was in pain, she never forced me to go to school. She was just like, if you want to stay home, you can stay home. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that, looking back, because a lot of times we can be like that with our kids. Like, we don't care, get over it. That's a part of life. That's you a girl, you gonna deal with that. Yeah. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, and that's bold. Now, yes. That's why I make it. My sister said to me that she used to get picked up from school by, I never knew this because we went to different high schools. So I probably was still at school. I was at Lutheran West. She was at Cass. And she was like, she was having a bad day like that. My mom would send my dad to pick her up. I was like, really? Because I don't never remember getting picked up. They never tell me that.
Because she was a different kind of kid.
Girl, I do not remember that. I would have been calling home from West like, can y'all come get me? I didn't know it was an option.
Right. You would have took advantage of it. That's why they ain't let you know. That's why they ain't let you know. It wouldn't have been an option for you.
It would have been an option because I'd have been like, y'all let Tiny come home. When she just told me that recently, and I was like, you used to go home? Girl, please. I would have been calling like, can I please come home?
Yeah, so I really I wonder about that, like the connection, especially from a spiritual aspect, since I noticed like within the last couple of years, that's when it became more of a trigger. Whereas before it was just like, oh, here it come.
It's like it's an attack.
Yes.
So it's like because you already deal with mental health issues.
Yes. So it's just like it's the time where it's like I'm infiltrated.
Yeah.
And probably like you said, our body's going through, and I'm probably physically weaker on the inside than what I realized. So it's easier for the enemy to come in.
Yeah. Because people gotta realize our bodies is, I mean, I don't know how y'all feel about who y'all are. I'm a spirit living in this human earth or whatever. So because you are aware of that, you know, it's easier to, I don't know how we or you can, you know, now that you know, like how do you, you know, kind of try to block it, or do you just let it happen? You know what I'm saying? You count your 28 days. You know when it's coming. Do you intentionally be like, I'm really going to try not to let this get to me, or do, you know?
I think now I'm being a little bit more intentional about it. Because even though yesterday, like I told you, I had a really hard day yesterday, I did have commitments and I still honored those commitments. Afterwards, she wanted to show me, you know, some gratitude and appreciation, but I was like, no, I want to go home. I don't want to go nowhere else. You're welcome. I just want to, you know, go home. But I am still trying to maneuver it. But I also know that, you know, when you're going through things in life, in the physical, and then you have that, it kind of like pulls you away from praising God through the midst of your storm.
And that is the part, because I think we have to be careful, because there's power in our words, and it pushes us to say things that be like, oh, I probably shouldn't say that. But, you know, pushing through in the midst of your storm, like, how do you do that? It's so hard.
Yes. And like my storms be tsunamis. Like, I don't know what's the highest level of a storm, but that is where I go. And I can make anything sound horrible, where you would be like, I don't even want to talk to you because that curse that you putting over your life, I don't even want to talk to you because I don't even want to be in agreement with what you saying. Because here I go, like, don't worry about me if I get on this flight. Maybe the plane will just crash and then I'll be out my misery.
You do say stuff like that, and I'll be looking like, girl.
Yes. So it's just like I get to where I'm putting those word curses, and then the next day when I wake up, I'm like, oh God, please forgive me, because I want to get to the promised land on earth. Okay? On earth. I'm grateful for where I'm at now, but I am waiting for the day where I have land.
Yeah, I get it, girl. I get it. I mean, we women, I don't know, we women, so I feel like we got it harder on a lot of issues than men. But I ain't a man, so I can't say what the hell. I don't know. But when it comes to our bodies, when it comes to, you know, being the minority as a woman, then you add on a black woman, you know, it just be so much. We the mothers,
yes,
the caregivers, the ones that's expected to be the, you know, beneath and still take care of everything.
And we at the top.
So, you know, I don't know how. That's why I just, when you go through it, or when I go through it, I don't voice mine as loudly as you do, or as outwardly as you do. But I just be like, man, we don't have any option except to get through it. We don't have no option. You don't have no option, girl. I know you be like, I'm done. I'll be like,
yes, I'll be like, I'm done. Throw it all away.
And I'll be like this, okay.
Throw it all away.
Okay.
Like, I'm just over it. But and I really do in that moment just really like be like, it's just too much.
But think about this. After you're done with the menstrual and the premenstrual, what's next?
A lot of times I look back at my life and I think of those moments as wasted moments, which is why yesterday I still followed through with what I had going on, because I could have easily been like, I do not care. I'm choosing me. But, you know, I still went through it. And then I think a lot of things too, because I feel other people's pain unknowingly sometimes with my high intense level of empathy.
I was just listening to that in the car. That's why I said I got some stuff I need to send
that you. I feel like when I'm in a weaker moment, others' pain makes me even weaker. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to say it.
I don't know if weaker is a word, but I get what you say. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Like it becomes heavier.
It piles on even more.
It piles on even more. So it's just like I get to where I can't really decipher what's my own, what's somebody else's, how to keep going in the midst of it, where it's just like I'm overwhelmed in these emotions. So I think my task now is to study and learn and commune with God on how to get through. So maybe my story can help someone else's, you know, because I tell God all the time, I'm tired. I understand, you know, my divine assignment, but do I keep having to go through stuff to be able to tell somebody how to get through it? Because I'm tired.
I mean, yeah, you do. Sorry to tell you that.
Yes. But I be like, when I think of that verse and it's all of these good words, I don't know what verse it is, but it's all of these good words, and then you want to throw in long suffering. Yeah. Pull that out, because I want all the words around it without
love, joy, peace.
Yes. Long suffering.
Long suffering. And I say that to you often. I'll be like, girl, long suffering. You don't even have to say a long sentence, just the word long suffering. Like, you be like, why am I going through this? Long suffering. Long suffering. Long suffering doesn't end. It's long.
Yes.
It's long, you know, so.
And I really believe like that is a part of my life as chosen. And with me, because I'm just so, I don't know, like outward about it and just open and just, woe is me. And I don't even come from a place where I be wanting sympathy. I just be wanting to be like, leave me the hell alone. Because I hate
life. You are very outwardly with it, you know, but we got to be careful with how outwardly we be with it.
Yes.
Because sometimes other people or things can make your long suffering
longer
because you let it out. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of my things where I'll be silent.
And then I think about how you said like the words, because we always say that verse backwards, because we say life and death, but it's really death and life.
Death and life, yeah. We want to say life first though.
Yeah, but that's not how it's written. And I speak a lot of death, and I try consciously now to work on that, and not even necessarily in my own life, but in the lives of others, because we don't realize how we can speak that in other lives. Because just because you know somebody's in a bad place and having a hard time, we don't need to always talk about it, because in my mind, I'm speaking more death in the situation the more I talk about it.
Life, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean,
sometimes you want to talk and vent, but sometimes you just need to be quiet.
Yeah. And that's what I'm learning. I've learned to be quiet in a lot of situations. I don't, like you speak death, I can speak life, but a lot of times I don't speak. I'll just be quiet, because a lot of times it ain't really my place to be like, well, girl, this gonna happen to you, or God said this. Sometimes it's your place to just be silent and let God do his perfect work. He don't need my help.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's just like, I be wanting to tell people, you know, I know the word, right? Clearly, I'm just not standing on it. So just let me have this moment where I'm not standing on it.
Listen,
it don't mean that I ain't forgot
the
it.
fact that you openly out loud admit, clearly I ain't standing on it. Do you know how many people will not admit? They'll act like they standing on it, and
yes, I do not be standing on business, okay? But I'll be like, I might not be able to tell you the chapter and the verse, but I can tell you what's in that, boy. I might need to Google it and be like, what chapter and verse?
Oh, that was like that day we was talking, and I was like, what's that scripture, Tikisha? Press toward the mark, and you look it up, and you was like, oh yeah, and look what the number. I was like, see.
Yes.
I was like, I don't know where it's at, but I know that's one of the ones
I know what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, you got to press toward. I said, say something about press toward the mark. Girl, listen. Hey, listen. Last week we had Janaea.
Yes, Janaea Black.
She was very uplifting to both of us, and I think we uplifted her because you telling her that how she impacted your story like she did. I was like, man, that I started thinking about, is there anybody in my life that's impacted me that I haven't told, that I should tell? And I started really, I'm gonna have to give some thought to that, because the people who impact me, I see often, like clients that we've invited on, and I'll tell them, girl, you have really been a blessing to me. But when I think back to like old coworkers and things like that, I never gave thought to that. I really love that she did that for you.
Yeah, and I'm glad that she agreed to come on, the show.
Did you think she was gonna say no?
I didn't know what she was gonna say.
Because she's introverted, she like keep to her.
Yes. Yeah. And again, we're not like, I don't want to say we're not friends because I use that loosely, but it's not someone where we're my inner circle who I'm talking to regularly. So I didn't know if it was going to be like, well, why you want me on the show? Like, do you just want me? Like if it was a clout because I know, of her being a movie producer.
And we didn't talk about any movies or anything.
Yeah. So I didn't know how she was going to feel about it, but I knew why she was placed on my heart, because I know that my role in life and how I encourage people, and a lot of times the people I pour into don't always tell me how I poured into them, even though I know I've poured. And sometimes I've poured so much, and sometimes and now that I'm talking about this and I'm thinking back about my sunken place, I feel like a lot of times, Keisha, maybe that's part of the problem, is that I've spent the whole month and I'm depleting myself, that by the time this time comes, because, I don't base my life on calendar days. I'm going by moon phases, my body. Like next year is when I start my new 2025 year, when my birthday comes. I'm stepping into my new year. So I think about how I've aligned my life spiritually versus the Gregorian calendar and everything else. So I'm wondering, like, have I depleted myself so much where I poured into people who are not pouring into me, where I can't even move and don't have enough energy to keep going? So I think it's important for us to let the people in our lives know, like, and I know some people don't do it because it's uncomfortable, for them. And sometimes you need more than a thank you.
What I was going to say is, I believe a lot of people don't know how to pour. I believe they think they know how to pour. I believe they think they are pouring. But I don't believe they know how to pour into specific individuals, because you can't pour into everybody the same.
Yes, and knowing that person and their love language is very important. But for me, a lot of times, I just wanting to be acknowledged. It's not even like I need a gift. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I just want to be acknowledged. Like if I'm taking time out of my day to pour into you, at some point I'm depleting myself. And I don't think that I realized that before, until now that I pour so often. Because again, I know it's a part of my calling. And I know how I feel after I have sessions where sometimes I'm sleeping the whole day because I've just poured for 2 hours straight.
You've emptied yourself out.
Yes.
Yeah, you emptied yourself out. But I don't believe that a lot of people that, and I'm sorry,
I don't think that they think that I'm pouring into them sometimes.
They probably don't know that that's what you're doing.
Like, I done filled your cup up and you ain't even realize that your cup was filled. Like, you at 7-Eleven with your love.
And you know what? I can honestly say that when it comes to, I probably do more pouring at work. But when it comes to family members, I probably don't pour as much.
I think a lot of times family and sometimes friends get neglected and we wait for that special birthday
to do
occasion to pour.
Mm-hmm. And I'm saying that out loud now because I'm just realizing it, that I probably don't pour. I'm probably guilty of that when it comes to my people, like your people are guilty of it when it comes to you. That I probably don't pour into them like I probably should. But I think also when you've grown up with people and known them for a long time and we make these changes in our life, sometimes it's not as easy because they don't know they don't understand really where you're coming from because this is like a new you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So even though you've been the same for a long time, it still can be kind of like uncomfortable, or they may not be in that place where they're able to pour.
Yeah.
You know, so I think I'm probably slower. I am doing it gradually with some closer family members now that's in my life. People who I know I align with more so than anything. If I don't think that God allows me to use that energy on people that I'm gonna feel empty. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I don't know if that's right or wrong, but yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, where you feel like it's going in one ear out the other, like I want to feel, like you say, you want to feel acknowledged. I want to feel full. Every conversation I have, I want to feel full. I don't want wasteful conversations. I don't like frivolous time spent. I want to feel full. And if I don't feel like we feeling each other, I'm probably not going to talk to you that much.
I can see that.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I want to feel full, and I'm learning how to pour more into my family and friends, but I think it's going to be a time and a place. I don't think that I'm just supposed to be randomly like, girl, let me call you. And I ain't called you in 2 years. You know, I think that we all are close and love each other. But if God hasn't led me to give the direction on what to say to pour into somebody, I feel like He gonna give me that time. And I feel like because you empty yourself so much.
And I think mine comes not even necessarily with, and I say this when I talk about just being empty and pouring because of my job. You know what I'm saying? Because in a session, you're not coming to me to pour into me.
Yeah.
You're coming to me for me to fill your cup up. Mm-hmm. And I get depleted from that. And again, like I said, being the empathetic person, because I'm extremely empathetic, that it's easier for me to be. And I don't expect those relationships to be balanced because I understand what my assignment is in those moments. But at the same time, I need to figure out for myself, with knowing my assignment, how not to get depleted and so depleted where it puts me in a storm where I can't keep going forward.
That's the part.
Because honestly, when I'm in my sessions, I am happy. Mm-hmm. I am happy to encourage. I am happy when I see the person, or when a person tells me like, oh my God, like I needed that. But when I'm in this PMS, it's just like, it don't be enough. It's like whatever it is, I'm still depleting myself. So I'm not coming from a place where, I ever want a client to feel like you know, it's an unbalance
like
because
they supposed to be telling
yeah,
and
because
making
it's
you
just
feel good.
like,
No,
and
no.
I say this like, not that I'm a doctor, but I feel like my position is the healer. You don't go to the doctor healing the doctor. You go to the doctor because you need to be healed.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but on the way here, I was listening to one of my sermon messages, and right before I got the car, he was talking about um chosen ones that are healers, and it's not like you're physically healing them, you're healing the energy, you're transforming the energy and the spirit of the atmosphere in the room, and you're making them better from that. That's what I think that you probably be lacking from just hanging out with friends or family.
Yeah, so I think it may come from the other areas in my life where I need it filled, where it's not being filled. So I'm learning to, you know, the balance, and then God has been shifting so much in my life where some of the people who didn't realize how much I poured or what a difference I made are waking up and noticing it and being more open, you know, because I don't always want to get to where I'm in the dark place for somebody to be like, girl, I love you and thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This trip that I'm coming up on this weekend that's sponsored, she told me, I wanted to do something nice for you because those devotions that you put out every day help me.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just because
Yeah.
the birthday, it was, and that right there was just like, all I need is one person. That filled me up because it's just like, I'm not doing it in vain. Because I'm reading my Proverbs every day this month for me. Because I needed a reminder on wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, because clearly I'm ready to jump in the ditch and give it all up. So I need to keep going, but it's just like I always feel like if I touch one person.
Yeah. And that's what I had to learn to slow down when I fully surrendered. You can't change or touch everybody at the same time. So like when I started having the little Bible classes and stuff, that's when I know the energy shifts. That's when I know it happens. It's not where I'm got to get out and yell to everybody, y'all need to do it. You know, it's just those individual moments that the energy shift, and it's like, you know, I needed that. We needed that for it. So I'm glad you're taking this trip this weekend.
I am too. I really, over this next week, really want to just spend some intimate time with myself because I need a reset. You know, when your life shifts and different things change, sometimes you have to change with them. You know, and sometimes you have to let go of expectations on how you see things. And that right there, I know, is one of my biggest struggles because I have a vision. And it doesn't mean that it's not going to come, but I do be like, God, when you said Terry, what's the definition of Terry? Can we put a time frame on it? Because that divine timing, I struggle with that.
I'm learning. I struggle with it, but I'm learning to. I know every day, like my time and his time. My time and his time.
You know how to embrace it.
I've embraced that my time is not his time. I was having a conversation with someone. I think it was Tuesday, and we were talking about relationships, and she asked me like, you know, by now, you know, you don't think that you would be like in a serious one and marry, like, since you kind of where you are now. I was like, girl, I said the feeling I have on the inside now is so different from how I felt before. And I said, I'll probably be 80 years old and I'll be fine if it was that. And if it don't happen again, I'm gonna be. She was like, 80. Like, I'm just saying, like, I've embraced that my time is not his time. Well, if it, just like it'd be like, oh, by this time I want to do this. By the time I'm this, I want to do. You know, I mean, you can have. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with having goals and a time frame that you want things to happen. But just now at 49, I'll be 50 this year, have I learned things that I probably wrote down 20 years ago that's just now starting to happen that I thought would have been happening. But, you know.
I don't know. Did I tell you that I had a reading done 4 years ago? I had a reading done 4 years ago. I don't know what happened that I revisited it last week. Is revisited it?
A word? I thought it's just revisited. I just said the same thing.
It don't sound right.
I revisited.
I revisited it. Okay, let's stop. So I listened to it because I don't know if I was supposed to record it, but I recorded it. And a lot of the things that we talked about, I'm living present day. And that was 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. So it really made me think about timing and alignment and the expectations. And my thing be like, because the way my brain is wired, and I really want to spend time over this next week trying to rewire my brain. Because my brain always goes to like, okay, well, you turning 49. And I think about the women before me on my mother's side, you know, who did not live a long life. Whereas on my father's, they 90 and 100 years old, you know, but I think about like, okay, my mother passed when she was 61, you turning 49, your time almost up, your life ain't looking like. I'm always thinking of some negative type of outcomes in a lot of situations for my own life, where I can be so positive, rainbows and sunshines for somebody else, but for me, for you, I'm gonna be like your color. For me, I'm gonna have a little bit of white, a little bit of light, but I'm gonna be
and that's
mostly
because you're
dark.
putting a time on things that you want for your life.
I don't know if I'm necessarily putting a time on it, but I think about like I'm 40. Maybe I am putting a time. I don't put a time frame like, okay, by July I expect this, but my time frame is more so like, okay, I'm turning 49 and this isn't happening. My son will be 30 and this isn't happening. Like I'm associating ages with accomplishments and time frames when it should not be like that.
No.
And I'm also associating the age with the aspect of time running out. Versus that God can give me the time, and each day is a renewed day every day.
He restores our time.
That in the spiritual realm, it's no age.
It's not. Or time.
But on earth, I'm just like, I'm running out of time. Yeah. And I really want to rewire my brain. You know how we talked on one episode and I was just like, I spend more time in the spiritual world than worldly world. Mm-hmm. I feel like the worldly thoughts that I have are so demonic.
I can see
that. That is what I need to focus on and bring into alignment with my spiritual thoughts.
Because there's really no middle, you know, with that.
Yeah. With and I don't have a middle ground with me. It's either I'm vibing high
or way low.
It's one or the other. And when it's low, it's low.
Yeah. Yeah. My vibing high is vibing high, but my low, there's a middle ground with my low. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a middle place with my low. I haven't been in no like low, and I don't know, and I ain't asking for it. But you know, I haven't been in that. But I also think that's because I stopped putting times on where I should be in my life. You know, your earthly thoughts of what you where you would want to be with kids and house, these surface level things that we want: job, career, money, love, whatever. I definitely ain't got no time for all that. Like, but where I want to be in God is where I be putting my time, not where I be thinking I feel like I should have been further along than where I am. That's where I be struggling. Like,
and I think for me, I'd be like, God, I've been rocking with you for so long. When am I going to get
to that,
to the other side, the double of, like
that promised land?
Yeah, when Job lost everything and then you refilled.
The milk and
I don't
honey.
want to lose everything. Let me be clear, okay?
Yeah.
Because I love my family.
Yeah.
I do not want anything to happen to them. But I am, like you said, for the milk and honey.
The milk and honey. Yeah. I get that. Like, for real.
I think that that's where, sometimes those overpower, because it's just like I get a glimpse. And I'd be like, oh, that was so good. But then it doesn't be the full picture. It's just the glimpse. And I will say my truth is I am tired of the glimpse. But I'm grateful for where I'm at, because I said the other day, and this is a hard truth, I miss my mother dearly. But I know that my relationship with God would not be like it was. She was my sacrifice for me to get there. You know what I'm saying? But I still miss her. But I think about where I was spiritual and during my journey to where it is now, just full-fledged, and God is at the center. Even when I'm a mess, because when I'm a mess, I be praying at the same time where I be cursing myself. I be like, I just want to run and jump off the bridge. But God, forgive me for this thought. But can you take me? Because I know it's somebody that's pleading and begging for their life. And I ain't pleading and begging for my life, because I'm just ready to be with you. Because this is just dumb here.
And that is so crazy that be at the same time.
Those be my thoughts at the same time.
Because my thoughts be like, Lord, give me long life, and because I know His time is not my time, I be like at least 100 years. I be saying it because long life to Him is not the same long life as what we think. Oh, she lived a long life. That ain't long. I'm like, I want long life, not in your long. In the long life that we see as longer than that. I be speaking it like, no, I be speaking life, and you be over there like, I'm so tired. I
be like, call me home. Call me home. Let me sit next to you on the throne and help some of these people.
Baby, listen. I mean, and not that I'm afraid of that, because I'm not. It's some people fear it.
Yeah, some people do fear it.
I don't fear it. I probably feared it before, but now I'd be like, I'm good, because I know that I'm going to be with Him. Like, I don't have a fear of it. If it happened whenever, I feel like I have done what I need to do. Not that I'm perfect, but I have changed my life in a way where I don't have to fear it. So if you have not done what you need to do, if you have some type of fear of it, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
Then that's an issue. Yes, we miss people when they leave here. I miss my mother. It'll be 4 years, April 7th, that she been gone. 4 years. I miss her tremendously, but the impact she left on me, the lessons that I've learned, I'm like, oh, she did what she was supposed to do. She literally was the example she set, that's what I'm trying to do. Leave the lessons, leave the memories. I don't want to leave here and somebody, have some type of art with me that we didn't correct. I'm not afraid of it no more. I ain't afraid. I'm like, we went to my friend's funeral a couple weeks ago, and was it last week? I can't remember.
I think it might have been 2 weeks.
Okay, 2 weeks.
I'm not for sure.
And as I sat there, my son was on one side of me, and my other friend was on the other side of me, and they both was just bawling, crying, just, And I put my arm around both of them, and the young lady that was sitting on the right side of me looked at me. She was just like, I was smiling. I didn't realize I was smiling, but I remembered my last memories with him. I remember like that he never left any bad taste in my mouth. I remember that, you know, most time we was around each other, we were laughing. And she was just like, you're not crying. I was like, not that I'm not sad, but I started thinking deeper, you know, like, you know, I believe that his soul is okay. I believe that, and it just made me feel happy. Mm-hmm. When we say celebration of life, celebration is not supposed to be sad.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not telling people not to cry at funerals. I'm not saying don't, you know, you ain't supposed to cry.
Because we understand the grieving in the morning, and it's a process.
It was a sad thing. It was a sudden thing. But in my thoughts, in my head, I was just like, man, we had conversations that I knew this man knew God. We had conversations where he was never disrespectful to women. He loved his family. I thought about all those things. That's what I want some people to feel about me. Like, you know, you can be sad, you're gonna miss me, I'm great.
Period. Okay.
But, you know, be happy and rejoice that this girl gave her life completely to God. That's what I'm trying to leave. So I don't have any fear, even though I don't speak death at all. And I'm praying that you stop.
Yeah, because baby, I'll be speaking it.
Yeah, I pray, but I know where it comes from, so it don't bother. Like I say, I was happy about him, but it don't bother me that you speak it, and people probably be like, "How it don't bother you?"
But you know, it's that because I always be like, and people might come for me. Sometimes the devil is not outside of us.
Yeah.
So this is my devil that I'm battling inside of me. Yeah. That's just that, like they say, that the shoulders. This is the one where it's the louder.
We look in the mirror at ourselves. Me and you and I do what a lot of people don't do.
Yeah.
We look in the mirror at ourselves and say, what do I need to fix about me?
Yes.
I'm not looking at other people. Even if I look at y'all or whoever and know it's something that needs to be changed, I'm not worried about what you need to change. Mm-mm. You know, I look in the mirror at me just like I know you, and that's why it don't bother me. It doesn't bother me when you do that. I just be like, it's time for me to pray in agreement with her that, you know, what she's asking God for, let his will be done. What she's asked for, let that be. That's what I think my job is as a friend, to say, if she's feeling hopeless today, God, restore her hope. Today, give us our daily.
Yes.
Our daily bread, what we need daily, because I can't worry about tomorrow. Give her what she needs today. And obviously he gave her what she needed, because today is better than yesterday.
Yeah.
So we look in the mirror ourselves and be like, you know what? I need to fix that. That's not right. Well, I literally know it's not right what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, and I'll fix it.
And I try to stand in that all the time, because I know me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know me. I know my battles. I know my struggles, and I don't try to hide it and come off like I'm perfect. Like, I know I am jacked up.
Listen, y'all.
And I hope when I'm in the midst of it and I can't see it, that God is giving me grace and mercy. Like, in my mind, I hope it's just like Sky Daddy. Like,
what I've learned about God is that he is patient. That's one of the main things I've learned.
Yeah, me too. And I'll be wishing he was impatient, because hello.
He's patient. He's patient. He's patient. Now the perfect patties out there, if y'all perfect and you like, I don't need to fix nothing, it's everybody else's fault. Y'all done did wrong and y'all done did me wrong and so this, and God be with you. Mm-hmm. You know, I acknowledge where I need to be, what I need to change and where I need to fix it myself. So, you know, hey. And if it's something that I don't know yet, I know that he'll reveal it.
Yeah, because as we come in, these lessons keep coming. Long suffering.
And everybody's long suffering looks different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've had, not that I'm not going through long suffering, I am. My long suffering just looks different from.
And that's the thing. Everybody's looks different, and what people go through, you know what I'm saying? Like for you, I'm saying that indirectly, like you're worse. You know what I'm saying? I heard a story yesterday, and it was someone who I think maybe in the last 2 years is like now he's blind. And I was thinking about how I'm hating my life, but I can see.
But you can see, yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm feeling like I'm in the dark, but I can see.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, so it's things like that that are reminders, you know, whereas for him, it might be, I'm just glad I'm still alive.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
Yeah.
everybody's place or problems, whatever we're, you know, calling it, is different. But I respect people when they're in it for that to be their dark. Even though to me, it'd be like, oh, that's sunshine. I can get through that. You may look at mine like, oh, I can get through that. That ain't even nothing. But for me, it's the end.
That reminds me of my cousin. I don't know if you ever met her. Maybe you have. She's deaf and she can't talk. You did meet her. Okay. I think about her, especially when she's around us and everybody's in the room. And can you imagine being in a room and you can't hear anything anybody else is saying, and you can't talk either? You can
cannot even imagine.
She can't hear and she can't talk, but she wakes up every day and do what she needs to do. She's a mother. She's pressed forward, and you know, I can't imagine what that life is like. So sometimes I feel empathetic towards her a lot more now than I think I did when I was younger, because I can't imagine not just looking around and everybody's engaging and talking, and you don't know what they're saying.
Yes.
And you can't talk either. You just come out like blah blah blah. And people literally have to learn how to talk to you. And even when people learn, you still gonna be missing stuff. You still not gonna get, so I can't imagine that. So I think that being grateful for those things.
Yes, and that's when I have to remind myself to be grateful for where I'm at, because my life is good. It's just certain things that I struggle with, and that's human. We all gonna struggle with something. Sure. But when I look at how God has blessed me, somebody else would be like, girl.
If they knew.
Yeah. But my place is my place, you know, and I can admit it, and I am really trying to work on it. So that's my goal over this next week, is really to try to focus on how to rewire my brain. And I know it's not going to be an overnight process, but the more intentional I am, the more open, and not even necessarily, you know, being honest, coming on a podcast, sharing these things, but being honest with myself. And wanting better and wanting more for myself, because I know when I'm in a good place. I know the rays of sunshine that I spread. I know what my assignment is. So I know that the devil's attack is essentially to pull me off of that assignment.
Hey man, y'all probably be looking like y'all always talking about how y'all be attacked, or because a lot of people be scared to say outwardly what they literally be going through. Most time people be trying to act like they burden is a financial thing.
Yeah.
Or sickness.
Yes.
A literal illness.
Yes.
But just your everyday struggles.
I'm grieving the life that I thought that I would have. And I don't even mean that from a bigger house or having a car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just some little things. I'm grieving that. I was just like, I look at my life. I've been in my home 19, 20 years. And I think about what's progress?
Yeah.
What's changed?
Mm-hmm.
It ain't the fact of me wanting a different house. That ain't it. But I'm just like the career and it's certain things, you know, like what's changed. So it's just like I'm grieving some opportunities. I'm grieving that I thought I would be turning 50 and my mom would be turning 70 and we would be somewhere turning up. Like it's not always the illness and the jobs and stuff. You know, sometimes it's opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's dreams that turned around because I always thought that my main thing would be the mortgage girly. I never thought about me being a reader. You know what I'm saying? Or coaching others, even if I'm not using tools. And honestly, that's something else that I have to accept because I can't step into it fully because I'm still struggling with that's demonic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's so many voices that I have to learn to tune out and to shut down. Because if this is what, and this is just in general, if you know God has called you to do something, it doesn't matter what anyone else says.
Mm-hmm.
As I had looked on the timer and it was just like 04, which made me think about my mama. But anyway, yeah.
That part. I mean, there, and I know we coming to a close because I can see. I got my glasses on. I can see. But talk about that different things you can grieve, you know, and we could talk about that another day. But I think that I went through the process of grieving divorce.
That's what, right. Yep.
Or breakups, or grieving not just my mom, just grieving the time you like you said that you thought I would be in this spot, or I would be doing this, or I would have this, or you know, I definitely can relate to the grieving process. And every moment of grief, or every situation of grief I've had, I've come out it differently. It depends on how how God dealt with me within that. Divorce was learning to forgive.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? There was freedom and forgiveness. My mother realizing we all gonna leave here. You know, we literally all gonna leave. But what lessons and legacies are you leaving behind when you leave here? And when I think about that, I miss her, but I'm like, man, everything now when it comes to me and my children, I'll be thinking, I remember my mother, you know, doing this or something similar to this or whatever. So that grieving everything, I think you could grieve the loss of a job, or, you know, a career change, or anything.
Absolutely.
Anything. So
animals. I grieve my animal.
Do you know when I walked up to your door today, I had a vision of TJ running to that door barking at me. Literally today, I thought about that. Like, that dog used to bark when you walk up to that door. And I had a vision of you picking him up like you do. You would
I would just scoop him right on up.
You would scoop him up and hold him. And you know, I literally had that vision as I was walking up to your door, like, dang, I thought about TJ.
And I know we coming on the close, but I think about that because recently with some things going on, I was just like, I wonder if, you know, I should get a pet, because pets can be comforting to people. Yeah. But my love was so great for him that I was just like,
you don't want to go through that again.
I don't want to go through that again, or having to make the decision, you know, because I struggled with that. He was miserable, but I just wanted him here.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing, because that's when I battle about the relationships, because when I love, and I'm not saying other people don't, but my love is so much where it consumes me, where I don't know where I begin and the other person ends. I become intertwined with my love. And I know that about me. So I'm very cautious about letting people in my life, because when I love you, I don't know where you begin and I end. And that's when I struggle. And that's why when I get in my sunken place and I talk about empathy, that's where I'm coming from, because I don't know how to separate.
That's deep. Because I honestly.
So when I think about my love from my son, I don't know how to separate him from not still feeling like he's in my womb and I'm carrying him right now. That's the best way that I can explain it. So when I tell you, like, I don't know if I want to love somebody like that or have that, that's what I mean, because I don't know, because it's like I'm literally one flesh with this person for real.
That's what we have to be careful not to make our love for someone our idol.
Yeah. And I tell God that all the time. And that's why I feel like with this journey that I'm on, you know, because this is the first time in years that I've taken a week off of work. And to actually be separated, you know, from my loved ones for that amount of time is a struggle for me. And it's something that's necessary, and it's something other people do and don't think about it. And I'm like, how y'all do that?
Easy.
You know, so I always struggle because I ask God all the time. And I'm sure he knows, like, my love is so great, but I never want it to be where I'm idolizing or I'm stepping in on someone else's path that he's laid out. So, girl, yeah, it'd be tough. It's tough in this body.
It's tough in all our bodies, just in a different way. Okay. I hope y'all got something from our girl chat, because I really do be having just a girl chat with her. I'll be forgetting we talking to other people.
Girl. And in my mind, I'm just talking to you.
I know. That's because that's how it talks to me anyway. Like, if y'all only knew. Listen, thank you, friend. You know, start off talking about our
yes, my PMS,
your PMS, and how that changes, you know, women and our spiritual attacks. How does it coincide? Y'all need to let us know what y'all think about that, because I know probably the majority of our watchers are women. And if you deal with that type of PMS and your mood changes and things like that,
email. Even if you don't want to put it in the conversations, in the comments.
Yeah, because that's something that we're probably going to talk about again, because that's something that's ongoing until the next phase of our life, where you go through menopause.
Yes, and I promise you, I am going to deep dive on this, because it's really something that I don't want to continue to struggle with for the remainder of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, listen, subscribe, share with a friend, share with a family member, share with the enemy. Hey, we see y'all next week.
This girl.